What's up, guys? Tim Little. Welcome back to Tactical Bass. And today's video, we got another electronics video for you. Today we're out on the lake and I'm going to show you some key features that you need to be looking for with your electronics. So it dawned on me that just some conversations in tackle shops and just around the fishing community when I've been out and about, people are asking, what's the bite? What's the bite on Chickamauga? Or what's the bite on Gunnersville or Falcon? Whatever it may be, right? And like, oh, they're on humps, or they're on offshore breaks, or they're on island tops, or they're on ledges, right? We've never really done a video showing you what they look like on the map. So today I'm gonna idle around, show you, got a little blast off going over here, show you guys what they look like on the map and what they look like also on down imaging or side imaging, 2D sonar, that stuff. So should be a good one. Let's go to our first spot. So we're out main lake, dam's right there. We're on the main body of this lake, okay? So I'm gonna go back, let's start to a spawning bay, and then we'll kind of work our way out, since that's kind of the transition we're going through right now, that post-spawn, kind of that spawn, post-spawn transition. And eventually, summertime, they're gonna get out here on these main ledges in the river. So, and all this can be applied to your fishery. It doesn't have to be a TVA lake or anything like that, but you'll be able to apply what an island top looks like, what a hump or a saddle or a main lake point looks like. So let's go to our first spot. All right, so what we got, kind of zoom out here for you. So we just left the main body, the main river, main lake, whatever you want to call this, right? So we're coming in, zoom in over here for you. We're coming into this big bay right here, okay? And you can see it forks. We got a boat back there, we got a boat back over here, so we're not gonna get in their way. But you can see how, this is the new Lake Master chip, by the way. You can see how I have the depth highlights. Let me kind of go over what I have right here. So that red area in this map, that is what I have as marked as my shallow water. So I actually have that set to 5 feet, okay? So I can come through here, I can change my color palettes, I can change all of that, I can change my water level offset in case the water's down. It's gonna adjust automatically, but right now we're at full pool. So I have my red palette set as my shallow water. So anywhere on the lake that is less than 5 feet of water, it's gonna highlight for me. And that is great when I'm running new bodies of water. I don't wanna run aground and mess up my prop, my lower unit, anything like that, right? So I wanna be safe. So that's what I have that red for. So you can see back here in this bay, let's get faced into the wind. In this bay, in the very backs of these arms, you got less than 5 feet. And this isn't too far. We're only about a mile, half mile off of the main lake. So this right here, I'm gonna call this entire bay a spawning bay, but really the key pieces back here are these backwaters right here in the red. That's where I'm gonna look for spawning fish. Now, where are those fish going to stage? They're gonna stage on this point right here. And we're not gonna call that a main lake point. We have a main lake point out there where we'll show you, but that is a substantial point that separates basically those two arms. So that's another good spot. That's a spot where they're gonna stage, okay? Let's go ahead and show you some of this too. So right here, we have a shad ball. Make sure I'm recording down here. Shad ball down in 30 foot. That's what bait looks like. We got our side imaging. Let's go ahead and bump this. Let's go ahead and bump our range out to 150 foot. Or scanning. Got some cool don't even know what that is. Some kind of steps out there. You guys can see over here. No fish on them. But I don't know what that is. Anyways, let's get back to the map. Let's go, boom, and then we'll go full map for you. Okay, so that is what I consider, or it is considered, a spawning bay. Sometimes they're big and vast, sometimes they're narrow, but this one is fairly substantial. Let me turn the boat and you'll see there's a lot of water back here. And you can see in the back, in the very back, it gets fairly shallow. Let's go ahead and just depth highlight. Adjust this back down to 5 so you guys can see. So you can see a lot of water back there, but you can see these key areas where these fish are going to be spawning. Okay. Now the one cool thing, if you're not familiar with reading electronics or reading a contour map, you see these lines right here? Those are your contour lines. You see right here, they show you basically 3 foot out to 25 foot. You see that? The tighter that those lines are together, the more abrupt the break is going to be. The wider they are, the more level it's going to be, and the less, I don't know, less steep, for lack of a better term, is going to be, okay? So when you're looking at a map like this, we have the spawning bay back here. Let me move this cursor so you can see it. Spawning bay is back here. We actually have an island top right here. It's surrounded by water, shallow water on the back, but you can see that's an island top with deep water, 13 foot over on the inside. And then also in this bay, we have some good little, I'm gonna call these like little secondary points. Okay, so a secondary point, a main lake point is the point that basically separates two arms or comes out into the main body, the main area of the lake. Okay, so right here, I'm gonna call this nice little main lake point. Got a high spot there. I'm gonna show you that. We're gonna go idle out here in a second, but I just wanted to show you what I'm looking at in this bay right here. So we got a main lake point there. I'm gonna call this over here a nice little secondary point. Okay, nice little secondary point there. Got one up here, but you can see how much darker this area is right here versus this area. That part right over here, this shoreline, right over here is way more abrupt than this shoreline on this side. So if I'm looking for, I'm coming into this arm and I'm basically looking for pre-spawn fish or post-spawn fish. The spawn fish are gonna be in the back. I'm looking for pre-spawn and post-spawn fish coming in or coming out of the spawning bay. I'm actually gonna start on this less steep bank. A couple reasons I can throw. I can throw a crankbait, I could throw a spinner bait, I could throw a swim bait, and I could be down there close to bottom. Whereas this wall over here, I mean, it breaks off fairly quickly. Just looking at it on the map, I haven't mapped it, or I haven't actually graphed it at all, but yeah, you go from 3 to 25 and basically a half of an inch. So pretty steep. Let's look at this stuff over here real quick, because this stuff is showing up really good. I don't know what those are. Some kind of I'm not gonna even guess, but I can tell there's no fish on them. A lot of times in the shadows, you'll see white spots. The white spot, the reflection, is the air bladder from the fish. So, but either way, we might have a fish back down over here. But getting back to the map. So coming into this arm, I'm actually going to fish this side going in and out. Okay, got that secondary point there, and we got that main lake point. But that's what, when I say, you know, a spawning bay or I'm catching them on secondary points, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the secondary points on the way back to the bay. Okay, obviously we can zoom out this lake on a lot larger scale and really pick out some cool stuff. Okay, right here. This is a hump. Okay, again, having this chip, the map cards these days are phenomenal. So having this chip really shortens down my fish finding time, or the areas that at least that I want to fish time, right? If I'm looking for fish that they're in that post spawn mode, I feel like they're staging on humps before they get out to that main river channel or on the ledge, I can pull up my map and zoom all over and look, and I can see where these humps are. Okay, here's a point with a high spot out here towards the end. So a good map card is a must. Okay, so Navionics, this is the Lake Master, 2 good cards. I really like the Lake Master card because I can do the water level offset. If the water's down 6 or 7 feet, I can turn that. It'll automatically adjust the water level for me. That way I'm not hitting something. Show you guys the difference over here. That same hump we were just looking at. But it allows me to adjust my map super accurately according to the water levels. Okay, let's go back. We're back here at full pool, so take that off. So now that we know kind of what a spawning bay looks like on the map, let's talk about some secondary points. So we kind of showed you what a secondary point is, and again, I'm just in this arm back here in this. I mean, this lake is massive. I'm in this one bay, and I'm trying to really simplify this for you. So over here, we got to see how this is really spread out. That is a good staging area. So these fish are going to come back from spawning back here. They got deep water here. They're going to either come this way around that deeper water, or they're going to come this way, which I think they'll come this way. At least in my mind, this is where I'm going to fish. And I'm going to come fish this area right here, this staging area. Okay, I'm going to side image that. If there's a rock or maybe a brush pile or something like that, I'm going to waypoint that. That's the key area on that key area. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, and these fish are going to continue to work their way out as they progress through that post-spawn transition and get into their summer deal, right? Their summer bite, they're going to be out there on the ledges. Okay, there's a secondary point right there, and then a main lake point. So let's go idle that secondary point, and then we'll go to the main lake point, and then I will show you the river arm right here and these points out here that are ledges. One thing I want to show you guys right here on this side imaging, got 2 shad balls over here, one there, one there. But more importantly, you see this right here, this light and dark? That is your bottom composition. The darker area is going to be your less dense stuff, where this over here, this real bright return, that's going to be your harder bottom. That's going to be your chunk rock. That is what you're looking for if you're looking for rock, okay? It's always going to be brighter than the mud or the sand or the clay around it, okay? So that is what rock looks like. Again, we got two shad balls, bay balls out here. But if you're looking for rock piles, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the brighter, you know, something's real lit up, surrounded by this dark stuff, okay? That is what a hard bottom looks like. Rock, big boulders will have big shadows behind them. Let's see, we're almost over here to the secondary point. So how I have my unit set up, I have one over here with mapping and typically side imaging, 2D sonar, and down imaging. But for this exercise, I have my map over here on this unit, and then I'm actually running map and then all the different screens on this one as well. But I can kind of mix and match and see what's coming up to show you guys, because I'm only recording off of this unit. So secondary point, these are these fish you're gonna catch on jigs, shaky heads, crankbait 6XDs, taxiable DDs. Typically they're gonna be a little bit deeper, so anywhere from 12 to 20, 22 feet typically is where these fish are gonna be at, and they're gonna move out to this main lake point and then eventually out to the ledges. So let's see what we got over here. Got some wind and a lot of boat traffic going on, so it's gonna be kind of bumpy, but let's see what we got. So you see over here on this side imaging, you see where the hard bottom really, the point really ends. Not the point that ends, but the rock point out there to the starboard side of the boat. You can see there's a little bit of bait over there. What we got here? It's like some tires there. But not a lot going on this secondary point. As you can see, the water temp's 68.8, getting up there. Okay, so map-wise, this is a good point right here. Comes all the way out. All the way out. So let's go idle over this. We'll come out here to the break off, and then we'll idle up the hump. While we're looking at it, you can see this map card really shows the creek channel, and then over here you can see these little breaks, the break off on the creek channel. That's a lot of times front and back. This one and this one, where they crash in, is where those fish are going to be. All right, let's go back over here to the hump. So a real drastic main lake point is going to be something that breaks the whole arm. Okay, you can go with this guy right here, that guy right there. You could go right here, but we got a little one right here. So let's see what we got going on. Slowly coming up. Coming right up that point. It's a point that comes way out. Looks like it's about 400 feet long. It's a pretty long point. Typically on these main lake points, I'm going to be fishing a crankbait, a swim bait, something that I can move fairly aggressively to try and find schooled up fish. And then if that doesn't work, that's when I'll switch and fish a jig or a wobble head, or something a little bit slower, a little bit less, a shaky head, something like that. Maybe even a big, like a Carolina rig works really good in this situation. You gotta understand too, electronics these days are amazing. The clarity you get, the picture you get, phenomenal. So much better than just a couple years ago. But understand, right now, we're scanning 150 feet out to the port, starboard, 150 feet out to the port. So 300 feet we're scanning. Then we're scanning down below about 30 feet. When you're trying to find a 15 to 24 inch bass, it'd be hard to see sometimes. So don't always not fish because you don't see anything. Okay, so that's that nice little I'm gonna call that main leg point, but it's also got a high spot, so it's a hump. Let's go out and look at this stuff out here. This is what's gonna be considered a ledge or a break. When guys are telling you that, oh, I'm catching them out on the ledges, or I'm catching them out on the main river break, main channel break, let's go take a look at that and show you what that looks like. So as you can see, a lot of this research or work can be done at home, just on your electronics. You don't even have to be on the lake. You can scroll over to the lake, zoom in, look at your map card. I mean, today you can do a lot of it by phone, but you can leave waypoints that really cuts down to your lake breakdown process to figure out where these fish are. So right now, let me zoom back out. I just went over the main creek channel. Okay, but what we're zoom out so you guys can really see. What we're looking at is that ledge right there. That is the main ledge, okay? That's what people are talking about, or that's what ledges look like on your electronics. Let's see what it looks like out here. Oh, we got all sorts of life going on. Look at this. So we got shad balls. We got fish right here sitting on this high spot right there on the break. You see that? See that break? That is the break off into the main river channel. So you can see all these fish just sitting here right on the high spot. Got a bait ball there. Zoom out so you guys can see what we're actually. Now we're going to come back up the other side. So that's the back side. Now we're going to go up the front side, see if any fish are on the current side. Again, lots of boat traffic out here, guys. Sorry about the waves. But you can see on this map right here what it looks like, right? You can see that is, when I zoom in, the lines get less visible, but you can see that is the end and the drop off right there. Let's go back over this river channel real quick. Another bait ball down there. Lots of bait in that 30 to 40 foot range. That'll kind of mess with you too. If those fish are coming off, they're looking to feed up, they're done with the spawn, they're looking for bait, it might pull them out to their summer patterns a little bit quickly if all the food is out there in that 20 to 40 foot range. So what are some other key terms that guys talk about in the tackle shop? So a hump is just a high spot, right? I showed you some of those on the map. A hump is a high spot that's higher than anywhere else around in the area. A lot of times, this time of the year, the fish will move up on top of the hump to feed and then back off. So don't be afraid to fish a little bit deeper around the hump before you get to it and fish on top. A lot of times this time of the year, I like to run and gun, so I'm running from spot to spot to spot. I'll pull up, shut down the big motor, drop the trolling motor, pick up a top water, and just fish the island, or the hump, the top of the high spot, if it's in the right range, and then move on. But if you're slowing down, you could fish that deeper water that surrounds it. Not much going on there. But we did see, it's interesting, the fish were all on this break right here. Right there, the fish were sitting, and there was nothing on this one over here. Last really key term or term that I hear talked about a little bit is a saddle. So a saddle, let's see if we can find one. Basically, a saddle is the deep area between two high spots. Again, just like the hump where they'll pull up and feed and then pull back down, if there's two high spots, a lot of times they'll come down into the saddle and the fish will sit in that saddle, and you can crank them there, you can worm them there, you could do all sorts of things. Typically, it's slower fishing. When they get up on the top on those high spots, that's when it's mainly reaction, and they're up there 2 feet. So those fish are really, really aggressive. So a saddle, let's see. So this right here is going to be considered the saddle. So you have a high spot out here, and you have deeper water between the shoreline. So that little saddle right there, sometimes the fish will sit here and pull up to the top to feed. Sometimes they will sit out here on the edge of the point and then pull up to feed. So that's just another key term that I can think of off the top of my head. Down below in the comment section, let me hear some questions or some terms that you've heard that you don't necessarily know what they look like, and maybe the next time we can do an on the water, looking at the map and kind of show you what those mean if I know. But guys, a lot of this work can be done at home. Yeah, on a rainy day, you know, whenever you have some downtime, you can pull up your phone, pull up these apps, pull up your electronics, power up your boat, electronics, sit in the garage, and just, I mean, right now I can zoom out. I can zoom out and I can zoom into any lake. I'm not gonna say any lake in the country because I only have a certain chip for this region, but I could pull up any lake in this region and I could zoom in to areas I want to look at and drop waypoints, okay? I can come over to Chickamauga, even though I'm not on Chickamauga today, and I could look at these areas. I can do some research and at least drop some waypoints, so when it is a nice day and I am on Chickamauga and I'm in that area, now I can go check it out. I don't have to sit there and study the map while I'm on the water burning good daylight. Now I can run right to that area that I had found sitting in the garage, and now I can side image that area, find those key pieces of cover, waypoint them, and then fish them. Guys, today's electronics, they're fairly simple. They're not too in-depth anymore. I know a lot of guys don't use them to their full potential, but there's some really key features. They're fairly easy to use. And if you put these electronics to use, it'll save your fish finding capability time. It'll make it more safe around the waterways and the different bodies of water, especially the ones you're not familiar with. It just helps out if you get comfortable using these units. So hopefully today's video showed a little bit of what these things look like on the water. Now you know what a spawning bay kind of looks like, a secondary point, a main lake point, a hump, an island top. We talked about a ledge, and we talked about a main river channel, right? We got the main river channel right here. So now you guys at least know what those look like on a map. So like I said, down below in the comment section, leave me some more questions or some terms that you've heard that maybe you're not familiar with, and we'll try and knock those out on another video. Guys, as always, we appreciate the support. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, hit your thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you guys on the next video.